I'm Chef Mike Moses and welcome to my kitchen. Today we're going to use a technique to prepare a perfect medium rare steak. It's called sous vide, and I'll tell you all the details coming up. If you like this video, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up, and if you'd like to see more, please subscribe. I post new videos here every weekend just for you on this channel. Now, sous vide, what is it? We've heard a lot about it. We've seen it on all the ads, especially if you've done one search on sous vide. It pops up everywhere. Basically, sous vide is vacuum sealing a protein and then cooking it in water. And that's going to cook until the temperature reaches 130 degrees for perfect medium rare. And we want to keep it at 130 degrees. Then we'll finish off the steak after we're done by searing it on both sides and searing up the fat and making it nice and crispy. Some benefits to this is that it takes 2.5 to 3 hours to get your steak up to temperature. But if it's a red protein like steak, you can leave it in the sous vide machine for 5-6 hours. The temperature will not increase any more than 130 degrees is what we want. Anyhow, let's get right to it. For this recipe, it's really simple. You're going to need a top quality steak, some rosemary, some garlic, some butter, and a bag to vacuum seal it in. I'm going to use my food saver, and we'll be able to seal this up really nice, watertight, and then we're going to put it in the sous vide machine. I'll show you that in just a second. For my steak, I have 1.5 inch sirloin. I'm going to season it up with quite liberally with salt and pepper on both sides. Flip it over, press it down, do the same on this side. A little more salt. And then we'll take our bag that I'm going to vacuum seal with the food saver. Pop this steak right in, right down to the bottom. I'm going to add about 2 tablespoons of butter. Put that on the top. A stick of rosemary, or a sprig of rosemary. And 1 clove of garlic, gently pressed. Throw that in the bag. And now we're ready to vacuum seal this. For the vacuum sealer, I'm going to use my food saver, and we'll turn it on, open her up, and seal up. Make sure everything's in, and then we'll seal it up. So our steak is now vacuum sealed, as you can see, no air in it whatsoever. Put this to the side. So I have my Anova here, which I bought myself, my own money, so this is not an endorsement. Machine, I'm going to set my temperature to 130 degrees. My timer is going to go for 2 minutes 30 seconds of cook time, and then I'm going to start the device. And what this does is circulate the water so that it gets to be 130 degrees. Now I could wait for it to come up to temperature before I put my steak in, or I could put my steak in and forget about it. So I'm going to put my steak in the water. Make sure it goes all the way down to the bottom. Make sure that the plastic is not interrupting the flow. Take a little clip. I clip it, and now that is set to go for 2.5 hours. And when the temperature comes up, the timer will start, and my app will let me know when it's time to finish the dish. So we'll let this go. I'll see you in 2.5 hours. All right, so 2.5 hours have elapsed, and our steak is done. We'll take it out of the water. And we're actually going to have to dry it off before we fry it. That way we get a nice crispy skin. For this next part, we need to get our steak out, turn our frying pan on high, but don't forget, don't just turn it right on high. You turn it on medium and then heat it up. Now, we'll take our steak out of the vacuum sealed bag. And right now this is done to 130 degrees, which is perfect for a medium rare. But doesn't look too appetizing right now. Remove that and the garlic. We don't need to flavor it anymore. And what I want to do is gently dry off the steak. just to make frying a lot easier. And you can tell just by, that's perfect medium rare. Flip it over, make sure I get the ends. And this steak is ready to have a crust put on it. So like I said, we're letting our frying pan come up to heat. We want this thing smoking hot. So we probably want it in a range of 450 to 500 degrees because it's only going to take about 30 or 40 seconds a side to actually sear the steak up and make it look delicious. Okay, our pan is coming up to temperature. Right now it's at 450. I want to add about a teaspoon of grapeseed oil. And the reason I want this in here is to help with the frying. So we'll make sure we got grapeseed oil all around, it's nice and shimmering. And we take our steak and we snap it in here. We want to make sure that it's flat. It's not going to take long. Probably take about 30 to 40 seconds each side. Remember, it's already cooked to a perfect medium rare. We're just going to put a nice sear on it. I also want to sear the fat on the back to make that nice and crispy as well. Look at that, gorgeous. We'll flip it over and we'll do the other side. And again, we're looking for that crust. All right, now we're going to do the bottom, the fat side. That's only going to be for about 30 seconds as well. And then we'll do the back side of it. All right, golden brown and delicious. Like any meat, when it's hit the high temperatures, you want to let it rest. We will let this rest for 5 minutes, plate it up, and see what it looks like. Okay, our steak has been resting for about 5 minutes. What I want to do now is show you how pink and juicy this is. So remember, it's been sitting for 5 minutes and we want to see how pink and juicy it really is. I'm actually going to go in about 1/4 of a way and just cut it off. It's just like butter. And there we go. That is a perfect medium rare, right from the top to the bottom, and a nice crust we put on in 30 seconds afterwards. And this temperature is cooked all the way through. Now, the big question is, what about texture? Well, I'll take a little piece. Again, another medium rare piece. It melts in your mouth. I can taste the rosemary. I can taste the garlic. Oh, that's a gorgeous piece of meat. So, if you're curious on trying sous vide, by all means, I highly recommend it, especially if you're cooking a steak and you want to cook it to perfection. For more information on this recipe and more, head over to my website, www.chefmikemoses.com. You'll find I have a blog running there with the recipes that you can print off. I hope you enjoy this. I'm here to help you cook better, shop smarter, and eat healthier.